Welcome to episode number 160. Mike's still jamming to the music of Gorilla Radio. Coming a little late. I got in late. It's my fault this time because the coaches and officials and Mr. Falcon's meeting and learned some things. Not really too much. Learned about some refereeing skills and stuff like that. And so then Mike and I had to talk about the last week of wrestling. Oh, why am I not? Why can't I get my chat? Need the chat.
Yeah, I think good officiating on Saturday at the Harvest Classic, so they had a good group. Got to see my guy Troy Hahn. Good to see Big Troy out there.
Yeah, I saw him. He was at the meeting, and quite a few officials were there.
They had a real good group. Harvest Classic had a really good group. I think their hospitality room brings them all back every year.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
we were talking about it, and then I heard everyone talk about how great of a hospitality room it was.
Nice.
They get so we start at the end. They got salad. They have massacholi. They have like Italian sausages. They have fried chicken, all catered. It's pretty good.
Nice. Oh crap! I can't get our chat. Yeah, we had Chigs and Pit barbecue. I'd rather do a little Lucille's, but it was pretty good and free food.
Where was
so
it?
I'm not gonna complain.
Where's it held at?
There we go. Oh, there it came. Say that again.
So where is it held at?
It's held at the Brotherhood Mutual, which is where Tyrone Wilson works. It's this big insurance company. You'll see it like when you go on I-69 if you're going through Fort Wayne. It's like a huge place. Can't really miss it. It actually, it's a really
The only signs I see going through, signs I see going through Fort Wayne.
Yeah, yes. The way you take, yes. Yeah, they. It's a company that they do insurance for like churches and things like that, and it is a huge campus of a building, and they have it's like a theater type room, and it's great. That's a pretty cool campus. I'm like sitting here like, whoa, where this place does insurance for churches? That's interesting.
My guy Dave getting the early jump on the holidays, man. I like to wrap gifts the night before.
I like to buy the gifts the night before. I'm still trying to figure out what I need to get my kids. I'm like, oh man, it's wrestling season. Uh-oh. Mike, come back. Oh, go ahead. I lost you.
You can't get Rocco a bunch of baseball cards.
No, I can't. I got to get him. Well, he said Cubs tickets, so we can do that.
You can make that happen. I know a guy that had season tickets. I don't know if does Eric still have them?
I don't think so. They're
My guy Eric Newell bought some laundry soap for me, man. I appreciate my guy right there.
Nice.
I'm gonna move Tegan up rankings a couple more steps.
Oh, that's how it works. Yeah, I got some here this around the state too. It's always got my hook up.
I know. I came off in your car at the Children's Museum or something. Had me going to some hoods.
Nice, yeah. So the main thing we learned at the coaches and officials meeting is just weird nuances and rules that we're at the table and they're explaining this and I'm like, so in order to be in bounds you have to have two supporting points. It can be two from one person or one from each person, which is pretty simple.
Two, yeah. Let me do the math. 1 and 1, 2. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So, but when you're on the mat, if you are on your back, like if I'm on my back, my head or my neck and my shoulders become my supporting point. So if I have a guy, and I'm gonna try to visualize this. So you're on top, and you're kind of technically straddling the line, one leg in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you're on top. You have a half or whatever, and the kid is out of bounds. His head, his neck, and his shoulders basically are out of bounds on the mat. They're out of bounds. That's a supporting point. So no points. You can't get a pin. You can't get near fall. But if you're in a high bridge, your feet become your supporting points, and those are in bounds.
So don't bridge. The moral of the story is if you're on the line, stop bridging.
Yes, that's how we. It was kind of funny because Kraus after we kind of started, I'm like, is that what excuse me, is that what he said? And he's like, I think so. So he asked the question to Medvesic, and Medvesic's like, I'm not going to coach your kid, but you're correct. So I was like, okay, so we found a loophole in the rules. So, but we were talking afterward. I'm like, well, if your kid is that good at bridging, number one, it's not the first time he's on his back. It's highly likely he's going to be back there soon enough. So just
Who's
keep
the best bridger anyone's ever seen? Well, from the comments, who's the best person they've ever seen get in a bridge?
Garrett Weber from
Garrett
Louisville.
Weber.
Dude, that kid was flexible as all get out. He would bridge. He'd bridge and then hip over and put you in a headlock and pin you.
Huh. I think I remember you saying that before.
That kid was had no arm joints. He had most extreme flexibility, and he would headlock you and choke you out. I saw him choke a kid out once, and it wasn't like purposely. It was just his arms were that tight, and the kid was fighting, and yeah, he was a funky, goofy wrestler. So yeah. So anyway, so that's what I learned tonight. And Falcon said we're still having stayed at Evansville. I tried talking him into changing it up, and he didn't like. He said no, thank you. He didn't want to come party on Victory Bay, I guess.
Man, that'd have been terrible if they switched the last second like that.
Yeah, dude. I'd just like to go. Invite Falcons over to Victory Bay to have a party. I was this close to inviting him to be on Guerrilla Radio. So
You should have, man. We have a whole chat. People could be asking questions.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna have to prepare him a little bit more than 5 minutes before.
We got the ADD, man. Like if he has the ADD, like I got it, man. It's gonna be a long show.
Yeah, no, he did a good job. It's always good to see him talk. And he talked a little bit about girls wrestling. Basically, did say as long as coaches don't screw anything up, it would likely be a sanctioned next year. And he did say that once it is fully sanctioned, girls have to wrestle girls in competitions, not in practice or whatever. That's up to coaches and stuff. And there will be no one grandfathered in, so there will be no choices. And that's kind of how HSA does it. Love it or hate it. I mean, it is what it is. I think that's how most states are anyway. So just as a heads up, I know there will be some people that are not happy with that, but in the long run, it's better for all the girls. And we can't just have it just, I know there's some very good girls right now, but it's better for everybody. So that's about what I learned. You learn anything?
For that meeting, I didn't go.
So you were at the Harvest.
I was.
Thomas Eric did say they will be able to practice with the boys. He did not. I know there's some banter about that. They will be able to practice with the boys, just like swimming practices together, track and cross country. They practice together. It's not any different there. That practicing separate is probably a good idea if you have enough girls and you can have a full separate practice. I would do that if I were a coach. If I had the resources with coaching and the amount of females there, definitely 100%. But at the same time, if you don't have those resources, then they definitely there shouldn't. He didn't say anything that they can't practice with each other. That I don't think that's a little bit. I don't think that's you can't really patrol that. It's not like girls. I mean, I'm sure girls can practice with the boys' basketball team if they want. I don't think there's any. There's no rules against that. So, so some quick stall calls on bottom guys at Delta. I don't think it could be. Each area has a different area set of referees. Referee.
You think those guys are Eric McGill trained?
What?
Those guys are Eric McGill trained?
Yeah, yes.
Hey. Eric McGill loves a bottom man stalling. That's his favorite.
Yes, he does. But yeah, they and sometimes those associations kind of emphasize different things. I noticed while coaching and going to different areas, we went over to Al Smith, we went down to Indianapolis, we went, we were up in Fort Wayne area, we went over to Maryville, and each sets of referees have a little bit different ways of calling some things, especially like stalling's the biggest one. That's the easiest one to, nitpick on. And if you aren't one of the best things I thought of as a coach, I always like to go to different areas to see those refs. Not only for my personal experience, but for the kids, because a lot of times if I tell them that, hey, you're gonna have this ref, he calls stalling pretty quickly. If you're on bottom and you're not moving, he's gonna ding you for stalling. And telling them, sometimes kids don't understand that until they actually get hit with it. So it's easy. It's good for them to see those different officials. Good for coaches too. I don't know. I didn't see any of those calls, so I don't want to make any. And just move on bottom, I guess. But yeah, speaking of Eric, he refed the Las Vegas, got to ref Jesse's finals match. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I know I think my brother sent me a picture of, Jesse dominate the tournament.
Yeah, he did.
Killed it. Looked phenomenal. I think 41's a good weight for him. 3 RWA guys in that weight.
Yeah.
Jesse, Sergio Lemley, and Cole Salome.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah, Salome. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't hit each other though.
Yeah, I was waiting. Man, that'd have been kind of neat, but not good. It sounds like Sergio is going to be the starter for Michigan, from what I've gathered from talking to people and stuff. So that's pretty cool. As a true freshman, got itchy there.
Yeah, and he's been doing really well too. A lot of good Indiana wrestling at the Vegas Open. I seen Silas Allred and Evan Bates hit. That kind of sucked.
Yeah. Silas, he looked pretty solid. Lucas Davison was in the finals.
Yeah.
Did you see that scramble where Bastida picked him up in a fireman's, and then I'm like, oh my! Number one, I thought he was gonna pile drive him. I was like, no, there's no way Lucas is getting out of this. And then Luke, as soon as he touched the mat, went to like a leg pass and ended up getting a stalemate out of it, which was crazy. So
yeah, Jesse ended up wrestling Ryan Jack. We watched that match. Who's number one that one year in Iowa City, right?
Yeah.
He wrestled Ryan Jack first match, and then wrestled Shane Van Ness the second match.
Yep.
It was a good weight.
Yeah, pretty decent weight. Yeah, that was pretty. I thought he wrestled Jack. I knew Jack was in that like 4-man thing, but I was like, I thought he wrestled him, but I wasn't 100% certain.
Who did Van Ness wrestle on the other side? He wrestled someone else that was pretty good also.
Someone really good. I would have to. I'll look it up.
But he's doing really well. Indiana well represented there, which was really cool. And then that's awesome for Eric. The 15-year article came out this week and had some good quotes from Eric. Eric was one of the original 3.
Yes. Yeah.
So went from doing rankings, wrestling Munster, wrestling at Cornell, to at the NCAA's last year. It was his first year on the main floor, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Yeah, he is Dom Serrano from Colorado. That's who it was. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty neat to see him, and I saw he was like the assistant for Jesse's semi match. I'm like, oh, I didn't know if I know they do a little bit of like kind of like, I know he won ref a Cornell match, but I think that's about it. So
yeah, I'm sure every time he looked at his arm, you see that big C come out.
Yeah, yes.
The big Cornell C on his bicep.
Yeah, it's when you get to that level, if you're not a professional, you're gonna get rung up for it. I mean, in more ways than one. So, I mean, and I know he has been around Jesse, and I'm a little bit here and there and stuff, but it's yeah, you got to be a professional, and you can't. I mean, they can't start doing like, oh, you lived semi close to this guy 3 years ago. Well, you can't. It just gets too convoluted. And I think from what he has told me, and I always love talking to him about the referee stuff, and it's kind of a cool like I don't know, called clique, or not even really a clique, just like a underground group of people that that are really professional and really good at their job, to say the least.
I think, I know he had said before, like when he had very first started, I think he had to put down he wouldn't do like Michigan State, right? He wouldn't do like Drew's matches because he had coached Drew in high school.
Yeah.
So I know I know he didn't do those, but I think he's been far enough away now from Indiana wrestling where he's probably not. Maybe Sam going. I know him and Sam. He trained Sam for a long time. Maybe if he gets some of those matches. But also, I don't know,
Wes, they will be able to practice with the boys. There's no limitations on it. Girls can, I know girls can practice and boys can practice at the same time. There's no limitations on that. And just as a heads up,
I just think it's cool to see Jesse do well. It's cool to see Eric do well. It's cool to see all the Indiana guys doing very well.
Yeah, yep. So and then Steve, you did say something about running at the same time. I know from what Mr. Falkins did say is that it appears that the timeline for their state tournament would be pretty much the same as it is right now. So as they
nice.
So we'll start basically that was it the 30th? Is that the day that's the regionals are? Yes, the 30th, 6th, and then that way. So that's what it is. It's not as of right now. It could change, but that's kind of the timeline they're thinking. So just as a heads up, and yeah, Seltzer's starting for Mizzou. That's good. Yeah, I saw he was wrestling. Been trying to do a little bit more promotion on the Twitter. I think people like it. So
Rep Indiana, I like it, man. I think it's good.
Yeah, it gets a lot of it's pretty cool it's a little bit harder to get some of the smaller schools, but try to do that as much as possible. I know Derek Blueball is ranked number 1 in D2 at 197, so that's really cool to see.
He had a good match this past weekend at Little State too with the kid that was Illinois kid from Mater Dei, 215, tall kid. He wrestled Christian Simmons.
Shoot, I see it. I can see his face. Who?
It was a pretty good match.
Critchfield.
Yeah, Critchfield.
Yeah.
I saw the Little State results, which was always cool because you got a lot of Indiana. Mateo Vargo won 25. Got to see his brother this weekend at the Harvest.
And one of those, I just thought about one I totally probably missed on the Rep Indiana was probably Streck. I assume Streck's not ranked number 1. But I did.
Was he a senior last year? No.
He still has one more year, but they don't have. Or no, Cale Gray. Cale Gray is ranked number 1.
Pretty good.
Heavyweight. Cale Gray from Norwell.
From Norwell.
Yeah.
So
Blue Ball's number 2. Yes.
Okay. A lot of really good Indiana wrestling in the college ranks, which is cool. I see a lot of guys committing. The commitment page has been going pretty crazy.
Yes, it has.
Which is awesome, man. It's got opportunity for guys to continue to wrestle. So really, really cool.
Yep. So yeah, if you have a commitment, send it to me, and I will put it up there. I see some of them, and sometimes I see them and at the wrong time where I'm not able to put it online quickly, because if I don't put it online quickly, it gets shoved down the list. So yeah, a lot of people committing lately. So a lot of good stuff going on. So this past weekend, anything else before we talk about this past weekend and what's coming up this week?
Nope.
Okay, last weekend was crazy.
Yeah.
First full week of wrestling, and didn't really disappoint too much, did it?
A lot of ranked matchups, a lot of ranked back and forth. Oh, Kim just bought me an Orange Monster. Let's go. The way to my heart, guys. A lot of I got to see a good amount of not only state ranked but semi-state rankings. But team matchups. I know we had Dustin on last week. My guys in the comments now. Some of the team stuff going on. It's been just you're getting those results, back and forth. You're like, oh man, and everyone's putting, this person be here, this person be here. So I'm sure Dane's job was fun this week.
Yeah.
I know I generally got to wait till Wednesday to kind of get those last couple guys that trickle in for results. But a lot of ranked matchups. I was at the Harvest Classic on the Big Mic. There was about a round where I didn't do anything when track wrestling went down. How wild is that, man? Yeah. Nationwide, right?
Yeah, nationwide. I was watching Trikoff. Not Trikoff. The Harvest. I was watching Floyd Central was putting their stuff in, so I was watching their stuff. I was watching the Westfield, watching a few events, and then all of a sudden I'm like, this isn't refreshing. What is going on? So I sent a message to in one of my other group chats. I'm like, is track wrestling down for you guys? Like, yep. I'm like, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
See my guy Brandon Barton there too. did a lot of good people at the Harvest, man. It's a good event. Just like a lot of like good people. Like I said, good officials, good food, like just good coaches, good guys. You guys, I watched Kyle Keith in action, man. Kyle, rode the wave. I'm sure that's not like ideal. He handled it really well. I went back to the old school. I was running cars to tables.
Oh yeah.
So we almost forgot how to do that, man. It's a lost art.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, heck, you can still run a good tournament on paper if you know what you're doing and print off the brackets. Hopefully, you had a little bit of printouts or something that you could run off of. But yeah.
For a little bit, it was tough. I mean, like, and Kyle's doing the scores like on the spot. I was looking for my guy John Bogner, man. It was good, man. I didn't do the hot dog challenge. I didn't get any hot dogs, but but they I think that was like stressful, and I'm sure like not only for like Kyle, but like for the coaches and everything, man. And like you just don't know what's gonna happen, but
Yeah.
generally, I think how the weights kind of stack each other, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's it's going down, having track go down is not a fun thing to deal with in a tournament, and then especially when it's something you can't control, like your internet. If the internet goes out, you can kind of you can get a hotspot, and like,
Yeah.
let's get our hotspot, we can run it, do whatever. But yeah, when it's like nationwide and stuff, and it was it kind of would come back and then one. So I think some places just said screw it, and I think like Westfield just finished, and obviously that was dual, so it's a little bit easier. You know who you're going to wrestle, so it's not like you have to do too much with it. But it's always nice to have those results in because I put them in. I heard Ed Pendowski got pinned by Nick Brobst.
That's what I heard, man.
Yeah, that's what it says in the results, and those things don't lie. So sometimes if you don't put in your results, some fun ones get in there. So
Terry versus Henry at 215 Jeff Duels match of the week.
Yeah, I heard that was a good one.
We should do a match of the week. Seth Aubin and Aiden Dallinger was a really good match at the Harvest. Some really good matches. I wonder what the match of the week was.
Oh, jeez. I need to. Mr. Peyton Asbury is in on the chat. I guess I need to. That was a good one. I need to figure out how to do a poll. So I got a text from a college coach, Cole Spree, who's out in Iowa, and he's like, "Hey, I got a question for you." It's like, who is the best team in Indiana wrestling since 2017? And they're like, ooh, that's a good question. Like what, I go, so is it just high school or high school, college? What? He's like, kind of both, whatever. Then he's like, oh, Peyton Asbury and Riley Beddich are arguing about it. So I'm like, okay, so let me kind of see what they are. I kind of had an idea, but I didn't want to have, go out there and not have proof or, some substance to back my opinion up. So who would you say off the top of your head since 2017 to present? Obviously it's a battle. They're arguing Brownsburg versus Crown Point.
I would say right now it's Brownsburg, Crown Point, but depending on this group of guys that are going through now, and I think this is one of those things where what year did Cathedral have all those guys they had Elliot Rogers, who's been a couple-time All-American, Logan Bailey, Braden Bailey. They had a handful of guys that were pretty good. Those guys did pretty well in college too.
Yeah, well, they won three individual titles.
Slivko was in there.
From 18,
Zeke is
19,
probably part
20.
of that too.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when Cathedral won theirs. So yeah.
I think it's incredibly tough to say because you have a little bit more on those guys and what they've done, But that Crown Point team last year was really good. They had a handful of champs 2 years ago. They had a handful of champs with Mendez and Frazier. The Brownsburg team with the Brayton Lee years, they were really good.
Yeah.
Cool. So who did you say?
I said Brownsburg mainly because if you look at team, I basically did on team state and state results. And Brownsburg has The lowest at teams, they finished first 3 times, second twice, one third, one fourth. At IHSA State, first, second, third, fourth, sixth, second, third. So they've been in the top 6 pretty much the whole time. And then Crown Point they didn't even qualify. I think one year they didn't go for 4 years.
Yeah, I think 1 year they declined. It wasn't they weren't qualified.
They were like,
1 year Cathedral didn't make it, and it was crazy. I think I was like pounding the table, like these guys need to be in.
Yes. Yeah. So they've only the last 2 years they qualified, they won for Team State, IHSA State. They were 26, 16, 11, second, fourth, first. So over that 7-year, 8-year span, Brownsburg obviously way more consistent and way more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I mean, I was like, but I'm like, these last couple years of Crown Point's teams are just absolutely ridiculous.
and obviously, like I live up here, so I get to see it pretty up close. But I would be, man, Derek's had a pretty good run, like at Mishawaka. Then there was like a little gap where I think he wasn't coaching for a year. He switched over to Brownsburg, which Brownsburg now, like if you say, oh man, like they've always been a wrestling school, they weren't.
No,
they were not a wrestling school. And now they've been really, really good.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I don't even know if we looked at those Cathedral teams, but those Cathedral teams were pretty good in that middle there too.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, you look at Cathedral would probably, I'd almost probably put Cathedral to second. I'd have to go kind of look and see where they exactly fell in those years, just because they've probably been consistently more. I mean, if you do the average, they would probably be higher than Crown Point at this time, especially with that. I know they weren't 26th. They haven't finished 26th, but they have 3 titles and stuff, so I might have to throw that in there and just to see what that looks like. But yeah, it was random text. I was like, this is interesting. And then once he told me who was arguing about it, I was like, okay, so now you're just saying that. I mean, Cathedral might even be. I mean, if you go basically average, it'd be close with Crown Point. I'll put that in tomorrow. I have lots of sitting and waiting and babysitting things tomorrow, so I'll figure that one out. Get back with you.
I think there's a lot of people that reminisce about their time, like it was better. I think we've talked about this before. We might have talked about this on the show. I'm not one of those people that like, oh man, when I was doing it, it was way better. It was way tougher. Yeah. Dude, it's so good right now. It's crazy. Like we have world champions coming out of Indiana now. Like we have, guys that are like on the cusp of winning NCAAs. Like we have multiple All-Americans. It's a good time to be an Indiana wrestling fan.
Yeah, it's just the level of wrestling overall. I was talking to Brandon Brown, former Carroll stud at work, and it's like, man, when you see that Jax Forrest beat Ramos, it's like, when did you ever imagine a high school kid beating an All-American?
Like not in the they did before, right? Because what was Alan Freed, right? Alan Freed beat some guys
and
Kerry Colette, right?
Yeah, they both did pretty well, but now it's happening almost too regularly almost. Or Blaze. Oh
yeah,
Blaze
and I think that's like one of those. Good. Yeah, and some of those guys are going to be at Crown Point in 2 weeks?
A week and a half, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
And we were just talking like, dude, the level, the gap between high school and college is just. It used to be like this. Now it's like it's getting a lot closer. Those guys are coming in right and competing right away, which is, and we're seeing it in Indiana. I mean, Jesse was an All-American last year at one of the tougher weights. So
yeah,
it's one of those things that we got to see it firsthand, and Brayton Lee had a good right off the bat. Mason Parris was in the blood round right out of high school at heavyweight, first time wrestling heavyweight. So.
And as a state, we've lost guys where like you had guys like Gable Stevenson was an Indiana guy, Sergio Lemley's an Indiana guy. Yep. Like those guys are doing well also. I know like at one point Bubba J, right?
Whoa, Johnny Hughes is back.
Look at that, glorious.
He's been pretty quiet on the board. Come on, Johnny, we need some traffic here. We gotta get some ad revenue.
I know, man. Hey, I had Joe Hansen telling me I need to start banning people. I said I'm not a dictator like that. I'm not out here banning people, especially early on. Unless like I don't think I've ever banned any. I don't even know if I have the power to ban people on there. I'm sure I do, but I never banned anybody. Um,
Me neither.
I like it when people make those posts.
Yeah, no, I.
I think people used to ask me like insert any name like. Do you not? I think I'm more like an advocate for bringing people back. Like
You
I'm
probably
always
talked
like,
me
man,
into bringing a few people back.
but I like it, man. I think it gives a little spice to the board. Every now I seen what is it, Indiana wrestling guy made an appearance.
Yeah.
Some Brownsburg hate, some county hate.
Yes.
I like to keep that cathedral. Yeah,
You like keeping that wedge between Brownsburg and Cathedral.
I like that, man. Um, like I said, like I like that Chris gets on there and he does the county thing, and I think like obviously Region Rat and those guys, like I like that. I think it brings something to the board, and um, especially there's not a lot of wrestling going on. There's more talking.
Yeah.
Like I like that part of it.
Oh yeah. No, you've definitely convinced me to bring a couple people back. That I'm like, they're just getting under my skin sometimes. But yeah, yes. Over 15 years, I've banned one or two people. And
I don't think I've
sometimes,
ever been banned. I don't think I've ever even had a timeout.
sometimes I go back and look and see who I banned. I'm like, why did I ban that person? You know? And I'm like, oh, interesting. I banned that person. I remember having a little tiff with them once.
Um, I think you're way more chill now.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you used to be a little bit more like angry, like banning people. Now it's like yeah.
Yeah.
But the board, like I don't think is as like militant as it was at one point.
Yeah. No, there's not. Yeah, interesting. I'm just looking through some of them. Man, there's some interesting names on there.
There's people that have like made names and recycled names and been banned again, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's one that he kept coming with the same name, but he just adds something to it. I'm like, dude, and then I don't know. He didn't get why did I ban that guy? Huh, interesting. I don't know. There's some of these names
Yeah,
I'm just
so
looking through them. I've banned a few people in my day.
I guess let's get back. Yeah, I was at the Harvest Classic. I was on the main mic. I appreciate everybody. It was good, man. I thought like the wrestling was pretty solid. The finals were good. A couple things I probably would have seated different. Yeah, I thought Angelo Vargo getting a 5. That should have been a finals match. I think the semifinal with him and Rivera was good. Rivera pulled that one out. Um, Solid overall. Let me look at it. Mason Jones looked really good. He's really good. He was at 106. Button and Harper was a good match. It's a fall, but it was really, really close to the end. I think they kind of butted heads a little bit. Aubin Dallinger, really good match. That was a really good match. The final 2-1. I know that was a semi-state match. I think that was a Harvest Classic match last year. Yeah. Washburn lost. I think he lost pretty early. I don't know if he ended up 5th. Bennett and Mata. I think they said Bennett was a little bit under the weather, and Mata really pushed the pace late. That was a good match. I think Bennett kind of faded. I know they said he was fighting some sickness, and Mata just kept going. He looked really good. Rivera beat Daniel McGill in the final by fall, but the semifinal was really good with Vargo. Hey, shout out to this kid from River Forest, Michael Turner. Was not on the watch list. Nothing. He looked pretty good. He was pretty solid. He lost to Vargo 8-2 in that match.
Come back, Mike. Oh, there we go.
They're
Come back.
they're changing the internet out here by my house, so I don't know what's going on out there. Mikey Ortega, Porters looked really good. Casper Zach looked good. Gabino Perez from Illinois looked really good. He looked tough. I was going to ask Cole Chicoine looked really, really good. Beat Jaden Barkowski in the finals. And then Ramos McNutt, Callan Foy was really good. McNutt looks a little small. Like I think they said like he's not like 220 or anything, but like 230. Still moves well. Callan Foy's big, man. He's a big boy for Hanover Central. He wrestled well.
Yeah. So and then Penn won it. Did Penn win it? Is that what I saw?
Yep, Penn won it. Penn beat Lake Central. It was close for a while.
Yeah, I think it ended up being fairly close in the end, from what I recall.
What did Yeah, Washburn was fifth. I believe he lost to Darius Beeson from River Forest also, Coach Hidalgo's guy. He looked good also.
Yeah, that's a good win. Washburn been to
Uh,
state twice, so obviously very you know
Costello looked
experienced.
good. Beat Hollyfield. I didn't know they lost it in there.
Yeah, Hollyfield. Okay, yeah, he'll be this weekend. Let's see. Yeah, 235 to 217. Penn over Lake Central. Hobart was just behind that. So and Portage, McCutcheon. So some good wrestling there. Where else? I guess I'm looking at some of the Shamrock duels and Carmel. Who won there? I forgot who won there. And it wasn't totally completed
Yeah.
on track. Roncalli beat Carmel in the finals. Roncalli has a real good team. So
Oh yeah. I was looking at their lineup. They're solid.
yeah, they're pretty tough, and they have some. I think only one guy with state experience, but I think pretty much just their whole lineup is just solid wrestlers, top to bottom, and they're gonna. I mean, they beat a pretty solid Carmel team pretty handily. Let's see, where did it? Since I have to go to
Well,
the results page.
I know. And talk with Ed. I know they had a lot of turnover too. Um, they're young, but they have some guys that are pretty tough. Just kind of watching some of their results. They're scrappy.
Yeah, they have some. I mean, they always have a lot of turnover. I think just more than normal for them, and they're always they ended up beating Carmel 55-16. Ooh,
Wow.
and that's I just looking at some of the results, they just got wins, the close wins and stuff, and that didn't got some pins in some certain places. Shutley over Carlo Federici, who had a good win earlier this week. Um, just they had some pins in some certain spots, and yeah, that's pretty. Fishers and Roncalli was let me see, that was a pretty close match.
Fisher is wrestling really well too. They have some really good young guys.
43-36. Roncalli over Fishers, so that was a. And Fishers had to go through a pretty solid pool, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check my pool chat. My pool, yeah, Fishers had Norwell, Homestead, and Lawrence North. Pretty solid pool right there. I mean, I'd take a if you go wrestle those four teams in a weekend, that's a pretty good weekend. The winner of that pool had to go through. I know Homestead had some guys missing. Norwell had a couple guys missing, but Norwell saw some really good kids. Lawrence North's pretty solid. So
Yeah, I think they're really building the program back up. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever be like as good as they were like mid 2000s, but they're definitely getting better.
yeah. So yeah, so that was. I mean, I always like the Shamrock Duels. Always a good event, well ran, and always has solid competition. And pretty much all the teams there are pretty much full teams and all pretty good competition there. So anyway, let's see what else we had. We had Bloomington Duels. Center Grove is really good at wrestling right now.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they're
the
killing
what
people.
the big one for 2A, Western. Jay County beat Western and Hamilton Heights, and now they are ranked number one in 2A. And so yeah, they had a real good day. They beat Hamilton Heights 51-24 and beat Western 46-27. And Jay County's lost a couple guys. They don't. AJ Myers is, I believe, hurt,
Yep.
and then
Witten Camp is out of the lineup.
yeah, and he's supposedly back in Illinois, from what we've gathered. So you're losing two pretty good guys in spots where not always easy to find, and they look like they're pretty good. Belmont beat Delta on Saturday night, so 2A rankings got real shook up. So
That's exciting.
yeah,
I think those guys are like Jake County's tough, man. Like they're gonna have a handful of guys that are gonna win a lot of matches.
mm-hmm.
Same thing. Belmont's wrestling really well. They have a handful of guys that like those two other teams are pretty tough. I think they could probably compete in the 3A also. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know at the Cathedral duels there were some really good matchups.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That was a real good. Yeah, that was a real good day there too.
the Cathedral duels are always really tough.
Yeah, and they made it a little bit tougher this year because they added Floyd Central and I think Connorsville. Thankfully they got out. I guess. Who was there? Cathedral had. Yeah, that was a real good day.
Warren Central, Avon, Floyd Central, Greenfield Central, Cathedral, Ryle, Kentucky.
Yeah, Royal Kentucky's pretty tough. I guess I don't have. There's one result I'm missing. Oh, Floyd Central beaten. Did they really go 2-3? Avon had a real good day, a really good day. They ended up going 5-0. They beat, Cathedral, Warren Central, Greenfield Central, Floyd Central. So yeah, they beat Floyd Central 41-33, the 34-30 over Warren Central, and 36-28 over Cathedral. Floyd
Well,
Central.
Avon's another team that has 5 or 6 guys that are going to win 90% of the time.
Yeah, yeah, and someone's saying that. Well, Cathedral usually doesn't get. Yeah, how far do they go in football? Usually they don't have their full line. That's usually their kind of preseason, and they always have a good try that's coming up this weekend. That's usually their first. Usually this weekend this is a heck of a. This is just as good, if not maybe even a little bit better than Trikoff level.
Yeah, with just the shorter amount of duels you have to wrestle all those guys, it's really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not. Maybe Warren did have guys miss weight. I think they have some guys that are just kind of in those weights that are kind of interchangeable, like Cashman, and I know Kressel had a really good day, had some really good wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's really good. I think people were asking like, well, like is he good? Like, I was like, well, he's a runner-up and a champ in North Dakota or South Dakota. And like, well, what does that mean? I was like, he had a really good IPO. Like, he's good. He's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he was a good middle school kid. I think that's always like one of those weird things. Like, I think we have it's the same thing with college wrestling as like middle school wrestling. I think the same thing applies, right? Like, this isn't like 1986 and you only wrestled your local town middle schools and you had to have a learning curve. Like, a lot of the guys that are in middle school right now, I think could compete for a high school. I don't know a lot of guys, but look at a guy like Cesar Salas compete. He took third at the IHPO. He's an 8th grader.
Yeah.
Right at 190 with a grown man weight. That's where like he's a grown man for like a little kid. The Oriole.
Yeah,
I think
they actually rebranded like last year, and I picked that up for my graphics. Yes,
I think like there's a lot of guys in the middle school rankings that could come in and make an impact, especially like the smaller weights. Like, you're gonna have like Jensen Boyd coming in as a freshman. He's gonna be ranked, was ranked 1, and you're gonna have some guys in the top 5, and people are like, well, what have they done? I was like, well, a guy like Tegan Null has wins over guys that already been to semi-state, been to state. Gavin Lewis took third at IPO in a stacked weight. Like, 123 is one of the best weights there.
Yeah.
Like, he placed ahead of Gendris. He placed ahead of Preston Haynes. Or, Preston. Or was it? Yeah, Preston. Like, guys like Evan Stanley would have been ranked high in Indiana. Like, he had wins over guys that had state medals already. Yeah. I think that, like, that idea is, like, kind of, like, dead to me. So, like, when people are like Mateo Vargo has legitimate wins over Thrine, and he has legitimate wins over Hayden DeMarco already, like, coming into high school. Like, obviously, I'm not going to rank him ahead of Thrine. Thrine's the undefeated champ as a freshman. But I think that's incredibly tough to say, like, well, he has to earn his stripes, put him at unseeded. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's a especially now with events like IPO, like in even our folk style state and our freestyle state and the club duels and all those things. Those guys are hitting, especially those 8th graders, and they're seeking out those top guys, and they're getting
Angelo. Yeah, I'm sorry, not Mateo. I keep saying Mateo. Angelo.
Yeah. So yeah, they're seeing those guys, and they're getting their hands on them as they want to. There's a lot of those guys are wrestling IPO as 8th graders to get that level of competition and to kind of gauge where they're at, and like, whoa, baby, see those guys, there's nothing wrong with taking some losses and wrestling up at that kind of level and seeing, it's number one, IPO is a very good event. It is a local event. You don't have to drive, you're not traveling to North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and you're not spending as much money on hotels and gas and all that stuff. So you can get that high level of competition and not be worried about,
And you get to go to beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yes, get to wrestle the Coliseum.
On the opening day of NFL football.
Yes, so. But yeah, Kressel, he beat Major Bray Emrine. So that's, and he's had a couple good wins already this year. So we kind of knew after IPO kind of exactly where he stood versus Indiana guys. We knew even if without IPO, I don't know, maybe might not have been number one as we started. Did you have him? You had him number one, right? I know.
Yeah, I had him number. Yeah, I think it was like 57, 65, 74. Then those all got mixed up with. I think he's at 74 now, and so it was all over the place.
Yeah. But without that IPO, he probably wouldn't. He would have been up. He would have been top three no matter what. But he went out, got that competition. Now we know kind of where he stacks up versus Indiana guys.
I think he had a solid Super 32 also, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I think those events, like, you're not wrong. Like, I think that's the coolest thing about IPO is you're going to be able to see those guys competing against. Like, if you're incoming freshman, you should want to go there and compete, right? Yeah. Like, you should be able to argue criteria. Like, I think that's the criteria. I think sometimes is nonsense.
Criteria gets you in trouble too much. Do you want it? No.
I'll write down number one criteria should be common sense.
Yes.
You know what the criteria should be? Well, I don't know, man. Whoever, Jesse Mendez is a freshman, shouldn't be seated because, he's only like a Pan Am's champ. I just think that's crazy. I think that's crazy to me.
Yeah, people try to argue too much in seating meetings. And it gets them in trouble. Just, what? Especially like at something like Al Smith, you're going to wrestle a good competition. If you just want to make the finals, then why? You want to win it. So I want to see that competition.
I think sometimes those guys are not even trying to make the final. And I'm not like calling any coaches out. If you're the coach that their feelings are hurt by this, then I'm sorry. But it's true. It's the same reason I think I've said this before. The same reason I don't think all the coaches really want wrestlebacks in the ticket round. Yeah. Because they're going to try to sneak a guy through there. And if you actually wrestled that back, you're going to get the best four guys coming out of there. And there's a lot of coaches that maybe I could just sneak a guy through.
Yeah. Oh.
And I think that's 100% the truth. And I've talked to people. It's the same reason why guys are arguing. Well, we have a great record. Like, okay, cool. You have 30 wins and you have 21 forfeits. So you beat 9 kids. Tell me the 9 kids that you beat that are really good. Tate St. Lawrence really good. He's a really good 8th grader. Yeah. That guy will come in and make noise next year, Tate St. Laurent. Yeah. I've seen him wrestle live. He's really good.
Yeah. Too many people want to argue for a spot in a bracket, and like, dude, this is a tough weight. I don't. The only way this bracket's gonna be easy is if I just put you on one side and everyone else on the other side, and I just give you a bye to the finals.
Give me that same energy during the week, man. If you give that same energy in the practice room, you wouldn't have to be arguing so hard.
Exactly.
We used to say it all the time, and luckily, Steve and those guys have kind of led us to like a pre-seed, and they said it was good last year. I mean, I wasn't there. Yeah, there's my brother, man, currently top 10 in middle school, overall ranking in middle school.
Yes, yeah. Last year. It went well, and I'll tell you, the top guys all made it through. Seeding 12 was great. Steve's really good at listening and kind of opening, saying, hey, I want to make this as good as possible. Let's see 12 because there's that limits a little bit of the arguments, but it also, it's one of those things that we want. You want the best wrestling to happen. You want wrestling,
especially an event like that. Yeah. I mean, I guess at the Harvest Classic, it's still pretty early. Some of those guys are getting their first matches, but I don't know. I didn't really look at the bracket hard enough to know what Angela, who was ahead of them, and what they're maybe they feel like semi-state's better than being a national All-American. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I was
kind
at
of hard to argue,
semi-state.
though.
I was
That's
at
a tough
semi-state. I
one.
was never an All-American.
Yeah,
I was an All-American of anything.
yeah. That's always, especially those early season ones. Those are kind of hard to seed, and especially with I don't. Well, the worst part of something like that is it's if you don't make the semifinals, you're going to go down for fifth. So that hurts you even worse. So you don't want Vargo to get in as a 7 against the 2 seed because I guarantee as a 2 seed I don't want Vargo in the quarterfinals. You know,
And
I
I
don't want him
think
as a if I'm a 1 seed I don't want him in the semifinal or in the quarterfinals either. That type of stuff. So
ooh,
somehow, despite placing the
I wonder
closest,
which one am I sleeping on?
yeah, say it. Say who we're sleeping on.
Okay, hey, I could be sleeping on it. I'm not saying I'm not. Like I do the rankings for East Chicago, I do the rankings for the state. The hardest thing right now about ranking freshmen, and this is 100% fact, is every year someone tells me they stayed as an 8th grader. Every year I get at least one person that's like, he's still in middle school. Ah, man. That's like some of the other guys like are a little bit tougher. I know I was getting a little bit of the business on some of the freshmen Friday night. Like that, I mean, I don't think it's tough. Like some of it's hard, and some of it's going to be matchups. Like unless like I don't know, I can't think of any freshmen. And I'll use Alec Tatum because Joe Hanson's in here. Like it's going to be hard for me to put Alec Tatum as a over a guy that's got a medal, right? Like just right now at a bigger weight for a guy like that, like. I could put them up there if they had never hit head to head. Ooh, 106 freshmen. Which one? Hey, send them my name because 106 is like one of the lightest weights I have for like. I probably got like 28 like wrestlers in that weight class. Email me mriser04 at gmail.com. Tell me what they did, and I will put them on there, and I'll find out like where we need to slide them up because that's like I think that and May. There's like one other weight I only have a rank through like 28. Some of the weights are ranked through like 40.
Yes. Yeah. And the lighter weights seem you're about 10 to 12 in each of them. So I'm just looking at. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, send them honestly. Number one, send them the information. And then it will get put. He's gonna probably be on the watch list. So then we're gonna keep an eye on him. So it's hard to keep, especially at 106 and stuff. There's a lot of turnover, and then you're trying to look at those guys and see where they compare.
Yeah, I think like I might sound condescending on the show. Like I'm not. Like I'm really telling you to send it to me. I'm not like joking.
Here, I'll put the link.
Or you can just tweet it at me. That's my Twitter. You can send it in my messages.
Yeah, there's this.
Like I usually respond.
I'll put the link to the contact the rankers.
Staples is the real deal, man. Staples, Cesar Salas, Cameron Hazlett. That's a guy I think people are sleeping on. Noah Verduzco, really good. Case Bell's unbelievable. Like, I fear that like Case Bell might like end up being out of Indiana, but I hope he doesn't. And I'm not really sure what school he's going to go to. But those guys are going to be really, really good.
Sorry.
I wouldn't doubt if all those guys had a medal next year, but I hope he doesn't. I mean, MJ Staples already competing with guys that have, like I said, Cesar Salas was third at IPA at like a grown man weight, like 190. That's a grown man. That's a child. But I think like a lot of those are really, really hard, like early on, just because you don't know. Because we do have guys that are being held back. We've talked about that before, and I'm not saying anyone's doing it or maybe their kid does need a year to develop. I'm not telling people how to live their life. If I could have held my kids back, I would have, but then I would have probably not talked to them for a year. But I think like that part of it's hard. So like if someone tells me like, hey, like this person's really good, I'm like the most proactive person about ranking freshmen. There's a lot of guys in the top 5 that are freshmen. I mean Jensen Boyd's number 1. Yeah. And I think he went out there and proved it last year. Lane Horn was number 1. Gavin Lewis is up there. Tegan Newell's top. Angelo Vargo's a top guy. Like I said, Evan Stanley would have been one of the top ranked guys at 32. I mean, there's a ton of freshmen in the top 5.
Yeah. posted a link in the chat. I don't know if it as I reply, so I don't know if hopefully she gets it and send them. Yeah, that's how you contact the rankers. I don't do the
Yeah.
rankings, and I've been trying to do a little bit better job of like someone sends me something, I include any of the rankers over there. That way they see the information, and then I got out of the rankings game. I just do podcasts and
Well,
put
I'm sure you
graphics
get like
together.
you get that overflow like I get, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure like you get some like thanks, the rankings are great, and you're like cool. And then like I get like thanks, man, the graphics are awesome. I'm like, yeah, I didn't do anything with the graphics, but I'll take the credit. I love taking other people's credit.
Yeah,
Let me write my name on that group project.
Yeah. I just make sure that you don't have two Brownsburg kids listed at it's the same weights, and make sure that you have
Sometimes I do.
them in the
Sometimes
right
I do.
orders. And
Sometimes I have that, and sometimes I'll have like I found this. I've been doing this a lot more, man, and I've been putting a lot like doubling up. Like I get a result, I'm like, man, I need to put those people in there.
yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. No,
Oh man, Johnny, don't bring that the reporting results. Man, I've been really sad on the reporting results. I'm looking at the dual results, and I'm seeing no info, and it makes me so sad.
Yeah. Put in your results. It's not gonna hurt anything. We don't.
I think the coolest thing about that is that it'll auto feed your kids individual results, right?
No, it does not. Not until you have to do it on the individual results.
Put your individual results in, man, because I think it looks cool on a profile when you got all those listed as like all your notable results.
Yes. So yeah, do that. Definitely, that is huge. Is you can put in all your individual results there. So you go to results and individual results. So if I know some people have contacted me like, oh, this guy doesn't have a profile, and so, but he beat a couple guys. Usually I, depend on how big of a win it is, I'll point them towards the rankers to do.
Let's go.
So yeah.
I always tell Joe, and whoever puts the most individual results in, I think they should get a reward at the end of the year. I think we should give them a T-shirt or a hat or something, because man, I think that's a thankless job.
Yes, it is. Look, somebody, Copeland, I don't know who exactly that is. He put in a bunch just today. Brick for 6 put in quite a few. So yeah.
Oh, they had a bunch of results this weekend, man.
Beevman, CC Coach, Black Baron. Black Baron's been auditioning for a job at, so there's a lot of people putting in some good results.
Eric's right. Hey, I'll make that happen. If you go and you put in the most results, meet me at the Harvest Classic next year. I'll get you a hospitality room ticket. Pepinos on Mike. That's actually on Lake Central.
I'll have to put a running tally of who's putting in the most most individual results.
It'll be Pepinos, unlimited Pepinos.
You have that piece of pen and paper, right? Put that down.
I do. That's how I'm doing it, guys. Old school. I got like 100 notebooks with like notes in it, like ranking stuff, and just trying to go through. And everyone that's been to semi-state or better has a profile, right?
Yes, semi-state or better from last year has a profile, and then anyone in the rankings or on our watch list, I'll go through your watch list mainly and put them in there. So
I think you might have got a Facebook message, not me.
Oh. So okay. I haven't got anything yet. We'll check it.
Yeah, I think
I'll forward it to Mike.
I appreciate it. More good duel. I mean, Plymouth Super Duel is usually pretty good. I think there's always some pretty solid matches there.
Yeah,
Mishawaka was there.
Rochester was there this year. Rochester beat Mishawaka. Mishawaka beat Plymouth. Plymouth beat Mishawaka. So
Mishawaka beat Plymouth. You're saying Plymouth beat Rochester?
Yes.
Okay. You got me confused.
Yeah. So yeah. That was hold on, I'm playing. I sent you the link to that has Mike's information, but I'll forward that to him. So anyway, so it's just a little bit of matchups, I think, with those teams. I think they all have some pretty solid kids. I think Plymouth always has just a solid team top to bottom, and then they have a couple of hammers too. mixed in there. So they're always a
They
tough
got
dual team.
the brothers, man. They're tough.
They got the Smith brothers.
Uh, yeah, the Smith brothers. They're tough and they're exciting to watch. I'm shocked that the one's at 38. He wrestled 45 last year. I thought he was a pretty good size 45. Now he's at 38.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a so that's gonna be good. I mean, that's a good one. Where's Rochester's at the Jim Nicholson, so they'll see Penn this weekend. Hopefully, Penn has their
Nice.
starters there, so there should be some good matchups there. Let's see what else was going on last week.
Modern day Super Bowl.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't see a lot of modern day results.
of course not.
Modern day
Z-
versus Zionsville.
yeah, Zionsville got or Modern Day beat Zionsville, I believe. That's about the only thing we got. Oh, Modern Day did go 5-0. Zionsville lost to somebody. They beat 41-21 Modern Day over Zionsville. I know. Team State. I guess we can hit on that. There's obviously only a couple weeks left, basically to get into Team State, and there's two teams in each class. I think 3A is going to be a fun one to. It's going to be a fun one to sort out. So I think there's about
I
four or
heard we
five
got to put
teams
Floyd in.
in the mix.
I heard if you don't put Floyd in, there's gonna be a riot.
Um, I've heard that too. Sometimes sometimes I've heard Floyd called North Alabama, but someone said we don't want to do to them like they did to Alabama.
Now what they did at Florida State, man,
Florida
right?
State, yeah, yes, yeah. So,
Well, that will be good. Center Grove Cathedral on Wednesday. That'll be a good one.
yeah. So, let's see anything else going on from last week before we touch on this week. Western Super Bowls we talked about. Cathedral. So yeah, those are the big events. Obviously, first real big weekend. Pretty much, I honestly I don't know if any teams weren't wrestling this past weekend.
Yeah.
So this week is a big week. Another huge week. I just have a graphic. Why don't I just pull up the graphic?
Pull up the graphic, man. That looks good. Can we place the graphic on?
I could.
Um, got a couple teams going out to the meat grinder Ironman.
Yep, and I will be heading out there Thursday. So dual meets Belmont and South Adams battle for Adams County. I think they get the traveling Rex Brewer Trophy there. So that's on Tuesday, and then tomorrow you'll have number 1 and 3 in 2A, J County and Delta.
That'd be a fun duel.
Yeah, they that should be a good one. That J County, it's a double duel. I think J County wrestles. I want to say I think it's Yorktown and Winchester. I think are there also. So that should be a good one. New Pal and Greenfield Central on Wednesday. That should be a good one. I think it's 5 and 8 in 3A. Greenfield Central is number 16 in overall, which is that's pretty high for how they've been doing lately.
Yeah, they're a solid team.
Yeah. The Greenfield Central and their schedule is a meat grinder so far. Then Hamilton Heights and Bishop Chittard. I know Chittard is probably on the looking to maybe get one of those last two spots at 2A, and obviously beating Hamilton Heights would be good there. I think they had a late football season, so they're probably just trying to get their guys in shape. Bloomington South is going to Roncalli. Bloomington South just dropped out of the 3A rankings, but Roncalli is really good. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them at 4A, honestly, because I think they're gonna roll through a tough 2A or 3A. Cathedral Center Grove, that's gonna be really good. That's gonna be a good test for both teams. Right there, Garrett at New Haven. I think New Haven kind of has a sneaky good 3A team.
Yeah, they have a lot of strong individuals too.
Yeah, they got Ocampo's back. They have two Ocampos now, so they're both pretty good. And then you obviously have Doster. That should be a real good match. Some good matchups there. And then Prairie Heights at Homestead. Prairie Heights have they're undefeated right now. They have a pretty solid team, top to bottom, and Homestead has a pretty good team if they get everyone healthy. And then number 2 and number 5, Avon, as we said, they had a heck of a weekend.
Yep.
The county, Brownsburg and Avon, that's going to be a really good match.
Oh,
Brownsburg's really good. And that's
yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about the Jeff Super Duel with the greatest officials in the world.
Oh,
Triple
yes.
B.
Yes, Triple B.
Brownsburg went down there.
Stalls and falls. And the
Stalls and falls.
So, yeah. Jeffersonville. Brownsburg was there. I think Brownsburg beat.
Tell City.
Yeah, Tell City. Columbus East was there.
Heritage Hills was there. They had Jack Goldsberry and Terry match. Terry got a win there.
Yeah.
One of the Terrys.
Yeah. I kind of want to, it was, you kind of, especially Heritage Hills, you got to take it a little bit grain of salt because they just got done playing football. And I think a lot of those guys play football, so even though they did say Terry has beaten Goldsberry a lot, so that's not too surprising. So, yeah, they beat, let's see, 59-11, Brownsburg over Columbus East. They beat Tell City 62-12. So, yeah, Brownsburg's pretty good.
And we were talking about it a little bit. Man, Brownsburg, Crown Point, Center Grove, they might be 3 of the best teams, like, in a single year to go through.
Yeah.
Just, matching them up, and I know, like, you made that post, and, like, kind of matching them up with some of the top teams. They can roll a lot of those teams. Like, do they shut everybody out? No, I don't think that the 14 champs are coming from those 3 teams, but there's a lot of teams that they could shut out.
Yeah. We were talking about it kind of on our chat and stuff, and I put it together, and I'm like, and it might cause a little stir, but, I'm like, could Mater Dei get shut out by one of those teams? And based on rankings and kind of where guys slot in, I wouldn't bet on it, but at the same time, you're looking at the numbers and, like, it's very possible. It's not, I think a couple places where Mater Dei would be higher ranked, it's 1 or 2 spots, and it's 2 guys that you can flip flop, and if they're in a duel and it starts to get out of hand, and it's one of the late matches, the kid just doesn't get up for that match. It could be, a big difference. So yeah,
and you're gonna have those rolls of momentum, like, and you could see it. Like we saw it last year at the 4A duels when we announced it. Like they got rolling a little bit, and then like it just like hit. It was just, I think probably like right at maybe 45 with Ball. I think Ball went out there. I know he was injured. And then there was just like Ball won. And then it just kind of kept going through. And it was like, wow. They just got on a roll and just the energy changed.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's and it can happen, especially when it starts getting out of hand. And, that kind of stuff when you're used to being in, big duels and things like that. And it starts, and your match isn't that important. It can get kind of crazy.
Well,
so yeah.
I was talking to someone, and I think they were asking me about the Crown Point Brownsburg matchup, coming up. They're going to see each other. Like they're both at Ironman, not necessarily they're going to hit each other at Ironman. Center Grove in the mix there too, and then they're with each other again the next week at Carnahan. Like not necessarily they're going to keep hitting each other, but like there's a chance. And then you go into Team State, and then Center Grove and Crown Point are at Al Smith, where they could probably hit again. And you're going to see those guys a good amount of times, When in those duels, it's going to come down to like one, like the officiating we talked about earlier. Like if you get a guy that calls a lot of stalls, it's probably going to lean more towards like that Crown Point style that's pushing, or are you going to have guys that are going to let it like wrestle a little bit more? It might not go that way. I think it's just called differently. It's not right or wrong, but it could be like where it's going to end. I know the one year, one of the years Brownsburg won, they had Brayton to close out. And it was like they knew that if it was within like 6 at that point, they had Brayton, and Brayton was going to be able to close it out.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking at that post, and, man, it's like Prairie Meridian, who's 4-ish, 4-5, they have 113, number 8, and then they have two other guys that are ranked a little bit, and the rankings probably changed since then, but 12 and 7 and 11. So,
Yeah.
this is some interesting, some matches that, like, man, some of these teams could get shut out, and that's how good those three teams are, and they're kind of at a scary good that they have amassed a load of talent, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to see them this weekend on a national stage. And I know Crown Point and Brownsburg really had a very good impression on the Ironman staff and people. They're like they wrestled really well. They showed out there. Got to keep that momentum going and have another good tournament because they're pretty ruthless to say, and they have to be. If Crown Point and Brownsburg would have just laid an egg out there, they wouldn't be back. I would say that much. They're not gonna invite these teams and have them lay an egg. So there's pressure to perform and win matches and get some placers. There's only one wrestler between both teams in the semifinals, which that's not a bad thing. It's probably one of the least likely I would have expected, but that's what.
Yeah, Center Grove's going on too, right?
Yeah, Center Grove will be there. So that'll be.
They belong there, and they're tough. They're ridiculously tough.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of those guys at that kind of a national level tournament, and it's a grind. I'm excited to go. It's fun because it's almost like it's like a off-season tournament, but with an intensity level turned up to about 7,000.
Well, I think that's obviously really cool, but like there's other teams that, and I'm not saying like yes or no, but like some teams don't, like you don't want to go there. Like you're not trying to go there and get shut out and have all your guys lose, go 0-2. So like those guys belong there, but like I understand like why not everyone's going there,
Yeah. No, I'd like to see. Hopefully in the future we get some more individuals or partial teams. 2 or 3 guys from certain teams will head over there because it's a great event. It's great for the exposure, and we were talking about it last year. Reinhardt making the semifinals, as a sophomore. Like you said, he made some money that weekend, and I know you said like some Big Ten coaches were hitting him up and stuff afterward. You make the semifinals there, you're going to be. I know a lot of people were like, "Who is that guy?" And I know the Clark brothers were pretty close to both making the semifinal. Actually, I think Paul was really close, and then kind of got out of hand. But
he got thrown late, right?
Yeah, he was winning pretty well, and then kind of just let it go, and it was a long day. It's a long day. It's like an ISWA state on steroids. It's on Barry Bonds steroids.
Oh, the good stuff. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Not that fake Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. This is Barry Bonds stuff.
Not to get off topic, man, but like if someone came to me and said, "Hey, I have a balm that you can rub on your muscles and they'll get bigger and stronger," I'm taking that 100% of the time.
Yes.
I don't care. If you just want me to put a muscle balm on me and get bigger and stronger, give it to me. 2 drops under my tongue. All right, cool.
So that's gonna be fun. I will be heading out there Thursday evening. What else is going on? Those were the
Tom Cameron Invitational.
The Tom Cameron, the TC. That's gonna a real good event.
Sounds like McCutcheon's gonna be there. So you'll get to see Seth Aubin possibly and Aiden Dollinger too. Maryville.
You got the ACAC duels: Jay County, Adams Central, South Adams. That should be the Allen County Athletic Conference, even though only like 2 teams in the conference are in Allen County. Ironman Eagle Invite at Zionsville. You got Floyd Central, Zionsville, Garrett's there this year. The Eagle Invite, Jim Nicholson will have Penn and Rochester. Western Invite will have Western and Oak Hill. Oak Hill's kind of sneaky good. I think they're on the outs of or for the team state. They might be one of those last ones in there. The Falcon Quinn duels, as Coach Tante would call it. Perry, Carmel, Greenfield Central, and Columbus East.
Hold on a second. You go, man. I'll be right back.
Okay, so that's going to be a real good one. The Roncalli duels, Roncalli, New Pal, and Monrovia. Monrovia's looking for a team state spot, I believe. And then the Trikoff, Cathedral, Mishawaka, Franklin, New Prairie, and Southmont. Then obviously you do have the NEC 8 duels. The battle for the Northeast 8. So that the Northeast 8 and ACAC duels, their dual champions are crowned in a 2-day format. So should be some good wrestling both there. I do not know where's the Northeast 8 duels at this year. So I believe they rotate.
I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, they're at New Haven this year. So yes. So yeah, the Northeast 8. So yes, a lot of good events.
Did we say Trikoff?
Yeah, Trikoff should be, that's always a classic, great one. Cathedral, Mishawaka, Franklin, New Prairie, and Southmont. Southmont has a pretty solid team again. So yeah, it should be. I mean, Roncalli duels, Roncalli, New Pal, and Monrovia. So a lot of those 3A teams are battling it out, which is good for Dane and the committee. So
yeah,
and
I think that's like one of the toughest things because a lot of those guys are not going to hit that early, and if they do, that'd be great. But they don't always do that. You have to like compare like notables, which order operations doesn't always work in wrestling.
No, they do not. So yeah, obviously Trikoff is. Are you gonna maybe try to head over to Calumet this weekend?
I might try to, but some of our girls are signing their letter of intent on Sunday, and Noemi's playing in Peoria on Saturday and Friday. So I might be all over the Midwest, man.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like fun. Putting some miles on the car. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I'm like happy that I get to drive, an expedition. Because the gas mileage.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are the big events. Let's see. PAC duels, I think they kind of do a big thing. They have like some satellite duels and stuff. Some craziness in the Pocket Athletic Conference. Castle 5-Way will have Avon.
We need one more comment. They have 100 comments on this right now.
Nice.
One more comment, we get 100.
Castle will have Avon, Bloomington South, Castle, and Mater Dei, and Jeffersonville. And I believe an Illinois team. Warren Central will be at the Tom Hill Classic. Tom Cameron. Do we have? Yeah, we do have McCutcheon in there. So McCutcheon, Harrison, West Lafayette, Hobart, Maryville. So that should be Plymouth. That's gonna be a good day of wrestling. I always do a good job on that one.
Yeah, I think, and I like that some of those Lafayette area teams have come up and jumped in those tournaments because I think it's good to see those guys before you get to semi-state. I think that's kind of been in the past, like one of the things that's hurt the Lafayette area. They don't make it into the region a lot, and I think we've talked about it before. That just wrestles like a different style,
Yeah. So another just crazy week of wrestling. So it's gonna be fun next couple weeks. Pretty much as like with last week. I don't know if anyone's off this week. So it's always one, like when you're looking at schedules and stuff and you're trying to fill in an event, this is always one of those weekends that it's easy to find a good event to get into. It's a matter of them having the opening, saying, hey, I'd really like the Jim Nicholson. I always like that event. I was talking to Jimtown coach Maggart about it a little bit. That's an individual event. Everyone gets 5 matches, and it's kind of like an individual version of the Trikoff where you get knocked down or up into levels of competition based on your winning or losing. So your good kids get good competition. Your bad kids get bad competition. I guess, and that you kind of just eventually get knocked down to a pool or area of 2 or 3 guys that are your same ability, and that's good for teams, especially like a Jimtown, who will have a few good kids and then few average and some not average kids, and they get good competition, and they're not going 0-2 at the Harvest Classic, and you have to babysit them for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I think yeah, it probably is not fun. But like if you go to the Tri-Coff, you get to go wrestle in the wrestling room and enjoy that. It's pretty cramped. Doesn't always smell the greatest. Smells like what they used to say what hard work smells like. Um, so my advice to those guys is win early and stay out of the wrestling room. I mean, you can still win upstairs. There's a upstairs mat. You want to be on the main floor, but if you can't be on the main floor, stay out of the wrestling room.
So they have the 4 mats on the main floor, then 2
Yep.
behind the bleachers,
Yep.
and the 2 in the wrestling room.
2 in the wrestling room, and it is not well ventilated.
Are you speaking from any personal experience?
As a practice experience, we never wrestled in the room. I think my senior year we wrestled upstairs. Every other year we wrestled downstairs. But man, that wrestling room, I've been in there to watch some matches. Like someone would be like, oh, like maybe a good match hits early because I think early on that might be where like the 7-8s are at.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever, like the closer ones in the wrestling room. So like 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the main floor, and you have those 4 there. And they're going to wrestle some teams that are on the lower end of that. Probably the teams that are going to be in the room later. Possibly. I'm not going to tell anybody that they're going to. And then then they stay on the floor. And then all the winners come down in that second round. So then it goes 1 and 2 is going to be the top 4. 3 and 4 is going to be the next 4 upstairs and then into the room. Yeah. So I've been in that wrestling room looking for some like individual matchups. And it's crowded, it's hot, it's loud, the whistle echoes hard in there. It's not the ideal spot. I'm sure if there's anyone in the comments that's ever wrestled in there on the Tri-Coff side, probably not ideal.
Probably not.
You're not coming out there selling fresh. You might want to burn them clothes. Don't wear your IndianaMat gear, or wear your IndianaMat gear and buy more.
Yes, exactly. Hey, I did put some new stuff in the store. I haven't really totally announced it, but got some blue shirts and updated my inventory because I don't always do that very often. So got some nice soft Gorilla Outlaw shirts, some new IndianaMat shirts, some blue ones. So yeah, check them out if you want anything. If you want a shirt, get one for Christmas. I know every kid on the block would want one, so do that.
It's still so Joe is in there. How fun was that first round, Joe? Man, I'm always shocked when I see like an IndianaMat shirt out. I was like, did they win a pick'ems? How did you get that?
I always like seeing them in like random pictures, like on social media or something. Someone just posting a picture and they're wearing an IPO shirt. I saw. All right.
Oh, dude, it's hot in there. It's no joke. Hey, I'm telling you that it's not ideal, but that's what they got.
Hey, it works. Winning, you don't have to worry about that. So, So busy week. So you're probably expecting rankings maybe Wednesday-ish, as long as.
Yeah, I think the semi-state rankings are close. I probably have those done tomorrow. And then the state rankings, I just don't want to get roasted. I'm gonna try to find out where some of these guys are at, I guess. No, like the notable wins page is always huge for that. Like when we do the notable wins on the page in the comments, that is probably by far like one of my favorite posts. It helps out a ton. Like I don't have to track through all the track wrestling stuff or. Especially with track wrestling being down or all the dual results. I and I think it gives recognition. And like I always say, like more than anything, I want these guys to be recognized for like what they're doing. I think it's a really cool thing. If you feel like you should be ranked and you're not ranked and you knock off a ranked wrestler, yeah, man, go put that on there or have someone put it on there for you. It's just recognizing like what you've done. It's not personal. Like I'm not like personally invested. Like I'm not like rats. Guillermo Rivera beat Angelo Vargo, and now my rankings look like trash. Yeah. So yeah, that's my brother. If you click on his page, we look a lot alike. A lot of people, we look like pretty similar, and I think a lot of people always tell me he does a great job on my rankings.
Yeah. I need to.
But when we go to job sites, they ask me a lot of stuff that he's into. Like he has a handful of guns, and they're like, "Oh man, like that was cool, man. You had that." I'm like, "That's not me, man. I don't have that." He has a lot of baseball signatures. They're like, "Did you ever get that signed whatever ball?" I'm like, "I don't have any signed baseballs in my house, man. I don't know what you're talking about."
He probably takes you a second to be like, "Oh crap, you're talking about my brother."
Bro, what's great is obviously I'm friends with the Lemleys, and I seen Elaine, Sergio's mom, and we've been friends. And she seen my brother, and she came up and gave him a hug and gave him a kiss on the cheek, and he kind of like pulled away. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "That's not me." Dude. I'm gonna let Devin do this dodgeball rankings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put him
I
on
think
on the
if
site, Devin. If
put him on there, man. We'll pin it. I want to know who's the best dodgeball team.
yeah, and I want to hear the arguments for it.
Sling me down. We should have had a dodgeball tournament.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have one pre Al Smith. I mean, you got 10% of the teams there, so
Yeah.
that'd be. Hey,
Sounds like Zionsville lost one of their best dodgeball guys.
yeah.
It's like Wagner's not going to play to focus on baseball.
Yeah.
That's a huge hit to the dodgeball ranking. That's going to knock him down a couple spots.
I like the comment that said, "Is Zionsville contractually obligated to have a wrestling team if they don't have a Wagner on the team?"
I know. Like, dude, it's for real. A Panola or a Wagner.
Yeah. So that's I know Zionsville always has a really good baseball team. I think they always have pretty solid baseball team. I don't know when I start Indiana Bat. I don't know.
That's trademarked already. No one try to take that.
Yes.
That's a Kim trademark.
Yes. Yeah,
Kim's been playing Indiana Bat for years.
Yes, we are. We're working on that since seems Rocco likes baseball more than he likes wrestling right now. So, and I don't think the baseball community is ready for the 800-pound gorilla.
No, man, it'd change the whole world for those guys.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Indiana had a top 3 pick in the draft last year.
Yeah, Max Clark, right,
Yeah.
from Franklin.
Yeah, he's pretty good, and his card's coming out in a few weeks, so get one. I think he'll have some in the next big release. So, I still can't post, and Mike's X says it's wrong.
I still call it Twitter. I don't know why. Maybe I'm old. Whatever your Twitter is, if you send me your Twitter right now, I'll message you and you can tell me like what it is.
Yeah. Do I have it wrong? Mike.
I
Right.
think so. 0401.
0401. Those are zeros, not O's. Yeah. So, yeah. So
That's my Twitter.
Yeah, that went right to your Xer. So, unless it's on that link. I sent her the link to the post, but we'll figure it out. We'll get you in.
Yeah.
Get you. I did respond to your thing. It has the link to everything. So, send information in. That's more than anything. We appreciate the information.
Always.
So that's.
I think one of the things that like me and Joe kind of say that a lot. Sometimes when stuff's getting broke on the page, like news or people are saying like, "Oh man, I heard this." We've kind of heard it for a couple weeks. We're not the TMZ of wrestling. We're not going to be taking people's information or stuff. We've heard that someone could be coming back to Indiana, someone different than last week. So we heard last week we heard someone's coming back to Indiana, same weight class, different person.
Yeah.
But we don't like run out and tell that stuff. So like if if someone's like, "Oh man, don't say anything," but so and so is gonna Joe Butler is gonna cut down a weight class. Like we're not gonna be like, "Oh man, let me call Derek and tell Derek that Joe's cutting down a weight."
Yeah.
Like we don't do that. Like that's not for us.
Yeah. That's
but if that's
yeah, we were talking about it in our group chat, and I'm like, we know a lot of this stuff, most of it, and we just it's how we get a lot of our information. That hey, there's we're hearing murmurs from a couple different, and it's not just one person. It'll be 2 or 3 people that kind of, and then we're like, okay, there's some smoke here, and I'm not here to break that. I mean, if I wanted to be the TMZ, we could do that. We could be spreading out rumors and stuff, and that's kind of even from the beginning, we really have never been that. Heck, I didn't even know Hockaday committed.
Yeah, dude. One time we did, right? Like one time we like broke some state brackets.
Yeah. Oh yes.
And
Yes.
everyone
Yes.
lost their minds.
Yes. So yeah. Yeah. I didn't know Hockaday committed, and I saw a tweet from Willie, and I'm like, did he commit? So I sent like Derek a text. I go, did he commit? Did I miss this? And I know. Well, first I'll go to all their social medias, and I'm like, I didn't see anything. And so then I sent Derek a text, and I actually sent Hockaday. I was like, did you commit? He's like, yeah, yeah. I was like, okay, well, give me the graphic when you have it. And obviously, he's not one to be Showtime or whatever. I mean, he wants the attention, but I haven't seen a graphic yet. So, but he is committed to Oklahoma, which is a real good get for them.
Yeah.
I think,
It's huge.
Yeah, I think Kish. I've seen good things out of Kish, and hopefully he continues to do well. So
here's the real thing.
Yeah.
When he makes his commitment picture, is he gonna be flexing?
Oh, jeez. Please, no. Please. Jake, if you're watching, please do not flex. Please. We don't need... I'm done with flexing in commitment pictures and everything. Just do the point. Do that. I don't care. Just don't flex, please.
Do the backflip, man. Put your backflip on there.
Yeah, I got it on the intro screen. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, we know a lot. We have a lot of good information. We have a lot of sources from throughout the state, and it's more or less when that information needs to be out there, we'll put it out there. It's not it's not our place to break news and be kind of a TMZ and spread because that's how you get how sources clam up, and we don't get that good information from places. But half the time, sometimes we'll start hearing things and we'll just call coach, like, hey, what's going on? And usually they give you, we have good rapport with a lot of the coaches, and they'll give us, obviously we're not going to release like fine details of things, but we'll be like, some stuff happened, this kid's ineligible, plain and simple, and that's all we have to say.
Yeah, I mean, grades are winning a lot of wrestling matches right now.
yes. The old, you got to have good grades still. Unfortunately,
man, knock out wood. My daughter's finals are next week. I'm not trying to jinx anybody, but man, I heard a lot of guys that are in the rankings are not going to be in the next update.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you got to do the academics first. So those are way more important than winning wrestling matches. So, anything else we have to talk about today?
Nope. I only put down 2 things on my notes that I want to talk about.
Okay. Well, Shauna is going to send you a message. So
good. I'm excited.
So I will. Okay, we'll be back Monday again. I don't think we have any really bad Mondays coming up, as far as I know, from my schedule. So
I don't. So Monday's pretty good for me. Hopefully Monday's good for all these guys. If not, it'll be on the podcast tomorrow or on Spotify.
On Spotify, on Google, on Amazon, wherever you want to find your podcast, just subscribe and we'll put it up. We put it up. I'll put it up usually either tonight or in the morning. So check that out. Have a pretty good article coming out here probably tomorrow morning. I gotta start getting those to our article writers. Check out the article about 15 years of IndianaMat. So officially 15 years old. Got the gorilla got his driver's permit this weekend, so watch out. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. I guess we will see you guys next Monday. Have lots of good information. Have a great week, and send Mike your information.
Appreciate you guys.
Yep.